What's up, everybody? Today, Apple announced iOS 7.1 and released it for all eligible iPads, iPhones, and iPod Touches. In this video, I'm going to concentrate on the iPad version of the software, and I'm going to take you through some of the updated features and show you the updated speeds and animations. So let's jump right into it. First off, I'm going to show you the new lock screen, and as you can see here, there's a much more readable slide to unlock. It's a little bit, has a lot more contrast than it did before. And if we slide to unlock, you can see how much faster the icons fly in on the screen. Let's see that again. It's much faster than it was in 7.0. Control Center also has a new animation that's faster. It's very bouncy. Not quite sure if everybody's going to like that, but it's much more bouncy and has a much nicer contrast. It's not quite as transparent. You can see that the buttons are a lot darker. Also, it's a lot easier to now move things around. You can just flick your volume controls like that. You can see how it just kind of like has momentum with it. It's pretty cool. Nice little feature. Also, in the Control Center, you can easily now tap the artist or song and it takes you right into the music app. Before it was just really clunky. It hardly ever worked, and now it's just really easy to tap it and get right into the music app. So that brings us to the music app, where there are some notable changes. As you can see in the upper right hand corner here, there is a new icon for shuffle. It's much more bold. It shows much more contrast than it did before. I hit repeat, repeat song. You can see that. So much nicer than it was before, and much easier to see. Overall, the music app is largely unchanged, but these are welcome changes to make it a little bit more readable. It's also more responsive. A huge change to the music app for the better is this little shuffle icon right here. Before, when you hit it, it would just shuffle all the songs that I have here by David Bowie. Now, the way it's supposed to work if you have a shuffle icon next to each album is that you just want to shuffle that album, right? Well, that didn't work in iOS 7.0, but in 7.1 they fixed it, and if I tap shuffle here and start playing a song, turn that down, and we'll go to the now playing screen, and if I hit next, it just keeps playing that album that I want. Well, maybe I should take repeat off. I'll take that off. But if I hit next, it just keeps going to the next song in that album only. So very nice welcome change. Now, exiting apps with the pinch gesture is much more smooth. It's a little different than before. If you pinch out with 5 fingers, you're going to notice that there's actually a slight delay before the icons come in. It's a little bit weird at first, but it's actually much smoother because the icons fly in faster. It really doesn't take much more time than it did before, and everything's just much more fluid when it happens. Another thing that has changed is the overall responsiveness while the animations are happening. So for example, if I go right back into the music app here and I'm going to pinch out and quickly swipe to the right, you'll see its instantaneous response to my touch. Watch this. You see what happened there? I was able to actually quickly swipe while the animation was still going on. So very responsive in that respect. Also, zooming in and out of folders is super fast. It's just very fluid. There's no stuttering in animations. Everything is smooth as butter. And this really feels like the way iOS 7 should have been when it was initially released. So Apple's done a lot of refinement there. So let's go into some other new features here in the Settings app. If I go into General and then Accessibility here, we've got quite a few new options. We've got button shapes, which if I turn that on, you can see that right here, there is now a button shape that shows which direction to go back. So it's a little bit more accessible for people who might need to see the shapes, but I'm going to turn that off because I don't really like it. That is something that's been added. Also, we've got a lot of increased contrast options. So we've got reduced transparency. If we turn that on and pinch right out, we can see that there's a lot of gray. And what this gray is reducing that transparency effect. And if you see there, it just makes everything gray with black text and folders and any other area that's supposed to be transparent. Control center is pitch black. Not much has changed. They just refined it a little bit more. Let's turn that off. The next one is darken colors. So I'm gonna zoom in here and show you once I turn it on here, let's turn it on. You can see it got darker. Accessibility got darker. Turn it off, it got lighter. Turn it on, it gets darker. So it darkens the colors throughout the entire OS. Notes has darker yellow. The music app has a darker pink shade to it. The other one here is reduce white point. Now if I turn that on, you'll see a slight dimming and yellowing of the screen. That's what reduce white point does. If I turn it off, the screen gets a little whiter. If I turn it on, the screen has a slightly warmer hue to it. Just a little bit warmer. It's a little easier on the eyes, that's all. So that is some of the new accessibility for contrast. Now here we've got reduce motion. Reduce motion is pretty much unchanged. What that does is it just creates a fade effect rather than all the zooming. So pretty self-explanatory there. Not much has changed. On-off labels, same. Now they've added a new passcode option here in the pane. Another major change here is wallpapers and brightness. So rather than tapping over here, I just tap right here on choose a new wallpaper and I can select one. And when I actually select a new wallpaper here, it's going to give me this option to turn the perspective zoom on and off. So what that's doing is it's turning off the parallax effect. And what the parallax effect is that motion when you rock the iPad back and forth. See, when I rock the iPad back and forth, there's some motion there. Well, if I turn perspective zoom off, it actually keeps your wallpaper at its native size without zooming it in, which is a very, very welcome feature. A lot of people have been complaining about that, that it wasn't what they wanted. They wanted to have something that didn't zoom their wallpaper in. So that is the new wallpaper selection options in iOS 7.1. Now, notification center. There's a few changes here. Notably, they've taken advantage of some more of the space here. So gestures are still the same. Now there is a no notifications, no missed notifications. So when you swipe, instead of a blank screen before, it shows you what is, if you don't have anything there. So largely unchanged, just some refinement there as usual, but welcome refinement nonetheless. Keyboard changes. So if I go into Safari here and I bring up the keyboard, you can see that it's got much bolder letters, a little bit easier on the eyes, and this new shift key. The new shift key is white when it's inactive, it's black when it's active, and if you want caps lock, it shows you a little arrow there. So not a huge difference, but I guess it's a little bit easier for people. One thing I've noticed throughout the entire OS 7.1 is that they've just refined a lot of the typefaces. They've made things more readable. Things just seem a little bit more refined. It seems like they put that extra coat of polish on iOS 7 that was much needed. So, as I close out the video here, just to reiterate, just a lot of enhancements in iOS 7.1. It's smoother, it's faster, everything is just instant, multitasking is instant, the gestures are instant. If I just slide up with 4 fingers, everything is just instantaneous. There's that new pinch animation that's much smoother. Takes a little bit getting used to. One last thing I want to note is here in Safari, there's been a lot of people complaining about tabs that are crashing and tabs reloading. I have noticed not any crashes. Some people are saying there are crashes, but I can confirm that the reloading of the tabs is been greatly resolved. I can open up some new tabs here, and I'm going to load that one, and then I'm going to load that one, and then I'm going to load Mac Rumors, and I'll just load anything here. Let's go to that one. Let's bring all of these up, and you see they're all loaded. None of them are reloading, and just for good measure, I'm going to start clicking on some links, and then I'm going to click on a link inside here. And now let's start going back and forth. As you can see, the tabs issue looks like it's been resolved. I'll just go to the Apple Store here, and then I'll go back to here and maybe click a link over there, and I'll switch back and forth here, and you can see that there is no tab reloading. So that issue looks like it's finally been resolved. And last but not least, there is a new slide to power off animation. So as I hold the power button, you can see that there's now a new animation and new buttons. There's your cancel button, and as you can see, if I just do that, everything just starts to go dark. So that's a quick overview, or not so quick overview, of iOS 7.1. Lots of refinement, lots of speed. I wanted to concentrate on the iPad here because there have been a lot of issues with iPads and 64-bit devices in general with iOS 7, and it looks like a lot of these have been resolved. So feel free to comment, and thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.